The Rewind Sports 60.
Sports 60. From the city of big shoulders, the jewel of the Midwest, comes a sports show that's one of a kind. From iconic players to iconic stadiums to iconic teams, this is my kind of town. Chicago! And the Rewind Sports 60 is my kind of show. From Air Jordan to Sweetness to Papa Bear Hallis, this city works hard, but plays even harder. Danny Carlino and Jerry Riles bring you the Rewind Sports 60. Live. The Rewind Sports 60 starts now.
Welcome everyone to another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. We're broadcasting live from the world's famous Serenello's Restaurant Italiano, right here in the heart of Wheeling on Restaurant Road, corner of Lake Cook Road and Milwaukee Avenue. This is the Rewind Sports 60. Let's get to our esteemed panel. This is, of course, yours truly, Jerry Riles, and this guy, he's the one, he's the only, he's the man, he's the Italian stallion, DC, he's Danny Carlino. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Jerry. Good to see you again.
Looking good?
Some stuff going on over the weekend?
You know what? Some stuff going on over the weekend. I really don't know exactly what's going on, but Danny, I'm sure we're going to be able to find out what's going on.
Yeah, a few events have been going on between Chicago and Wisconsin. It's kind of important.
The
sports world, at least.
You think?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think it's important, Danny. We're certainly going to get a chance to talk a little bit deeper about that. And of course, this guy is he's first stringer. He's marvelous.
He's first stringer. You got to sit down.
I know.
Dan Robert, welcome to the board.
It's all Dan's.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. You know, a little tired from watching Cubs games, but you know, it's
or the rain.
A lot of Sox fans are too.
Yeah, right.
That goes for a few years, actually.
Exactly, man. I'm still rubbing my eyes from boom, but
I thought that Harper homer was a dream. I guess it really happened.
Exactly.
Or more of a
exactly.
nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
That's what they pay him for, though.
That's right.
Sure. At least for now.
Yep.
We'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Don't look now, but the Cubs might have to look behind their back and say who's on my tail.
2.5.
2.5 with just a
three gamer coming up against Brewers.
Big one here at Wrigley Field
Tomorrow
with the
night,
Brewers coming up. It's going to be pretty interesting to see this race going down to the wire. I
Yeah.
still haven't.
know.
Listen, you can never single out or forget about the St. Louis Cardinals.
Right, but you know it's important. They bring Lester back tomorrow, after the 2 innings on Friday.
That might be a blessing in disguise that they got him, because if he pitches the other night, he'd be unavailable in the Brewers series.
Well, I mean, they got to the Iron Man Hamels the other day, so it's not a guarantee. And Lester in the second half has not been the Lester of the first half. I think his ERA had ran up to like somewhere around double digits, around 10 or whatever, post All-Star break. So it's not a given.
The only thing is Quintana's been the most effective against the Brewers,
which is surprising. Which is surprising.
Yeah.
A lot of college football. Congratulations to Lovie Smith and the University of Illinois going 2-0, and they're coming to.
They beat Western.
They're coming to Chicago on the 15th at Soldier Field. Wow. And unfortunately, Northwestern.
Stinker.
Duke.
They scored it early.
Duke has a football team.
I know. I thought maybe it was Krzyzewski was coaching. I don't know.
A lot of college football. Congratulations to the Ohio State Buckeyes and a big win.
Conference game.
I tell you, it's a lot of action taking place, and we did happen to forget about something that's going on this weekend.
Tonight?
So, week 1 of the National Football League, the Chicago Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers. Sunday Night Football up in Lambeau.
Ready for some football.
Boom! Are you ready for some football? But before we move on, I have to say thank you and congratulations to all the fine folks who attended the second annual 5K run, 3K walk for Monster Education Foundation, which was held at the Wheeling Park District over the weekend. We raised some incredible funds for our scholars, and Jenny Chang, the president of Monster Education Foundation, was so happy with the turnout. Our goal was to reach 100 participants, and we got close to it. I think we got about 96 participants for the run walk over at the Park District, Heritage Park in Wheeling. And it was a great turnout. And thank you to our sponsors. Serenello's Restaurant Italiano sponsored us, along with the Rewind Sports 60. Local establishments. We had Wheeling Donuts provide us with some treats. There's a new place down the street, Woodman's, that provided us with some water. Walgreens, Jewel, CVS. All those fine folks here in the Wheeling area provided us with some great items for the race, and we want to say thank you. And again, for all you who were able to participate. And Danny Carlino, this is one of the shirts that we were giving out to all our runners and the walkers and the sponsors, who gave a few to Serenello, some of the employees here. But here's the deal. Roman, if you can get that, that's the front. This is the back. The Rewind Sports 60, the logo. We're on the top. Taking it to the streets, ladies and gentlemen.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what was your 5K time yesterday?
Here, Danny, this is for you.
I thought you were going to take it back from me asking.
Extra large?
Danny, we've been together for 3 years now, and congratulations to the Rewind Sports 60. This is our third year together doing broadcasts, doing shows, and we thank all of you who's been with us from the start, and those who have come on board, and those of you who will be joining us 3 seasons with the Rewind Sports 60. But over the 3-year period of time, Danny Carlino, and Jason Zinner, our technical director, thank you as well for being a part of what we've been doing from day one. He jumped in head first and never looked back. He's a gem. You've been a part of what we're doing, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. But you've been knowing me for 3 years. Well, longer than that, because we went back to CLTV days way back in the day. But we reunited 3 years ago, and so I think you do know a little bit about yours truly. So the question that you asked me again was what?
What was your 5K time?
My 5K time?
Yeah.
I don't have a time.
Still
the only thing that was running was my mouth.
Yeah. Well, that just shows you, as I always say, Jerry Riles is timeless.
Exactly.
Speaking of exercise, I was at the Woodman's opening, and you'll get your steps in there. I'll tell you, it's a big place.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah. They donated granola bars and everything to the 5K run, so thank you to them.
Yeah.
That place is unbelievable.
Yeah. I had a little trouble finding the milk, but
Did you really? Well, they
Was it spoiled by the time you got out?
No.
They actually have a map of the layout of the store.
Ask.
Yeah, with each aisle what contains. But you know what I liked about the place? They have their own beer area.
Okay.
The whole beer area it's separated from the store itself. But the real treasure for me, they have 20-pound bags of ice for a mere $2.
Good deal.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. 20-pound bag of ice for just $2.
I wish I'd have known that on Tuesday and Wednesday, because I was burning up.
You can't. You're absolutely right. You can't beat it with a stick, man.
Yeah.
But thank you. Hey, and wear that well. Wear it with pride.
There you go.
Yeah,
You know what? No, I don't want to shirk any attention for Monster, but I may wear it backwards just to get the rewind on the front.
There you go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, keep it locked in. We got a great show on tap. All Bears, pretty much all day. We're here from 11 to 1 p.m.
Damn, wow.
11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
You said all day.
1 p.m.
Now you're thinking about the Cubs again.
Sunday brunch right here at Serenello's Restaurante Italiano. When we come back, we will be talking to the sideline reporter, the pre- and post-game reporter for your Chicago Bears season opener, game number 1, Mark Grody. WSER Sports Radio 670 will be joining us on our TRS60 hotline from Lambeau. Looking forward to breaking down the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. What a matchup, what a defense, what a quarterback, the highest paid quarterback in the league in history, Aaron Rodgers. The Rewind Sports 60 Bears Packer Talk coming up right after this short timeout.
Welcome back to the Rewind Sports 60, streaming live on Facebook Live. Now let's get you back to the hottest sports panel in Chicago.
Hello, Chicago!
Lock it in.
We do the YMCA now?
Young man.
No? Sorry, did I mess that up? You're welcome.
Does it start over?
I won't even go there.
Welcome back to the Rewind Sports 60. Jerry Riles, Danny Carlino, the Italian Stallion, doing the YMCA.
Which way does the C go? I always get that messed up. That's another show.
Danny, Marvelous Marver on the program, and we're pleased to be joined by a clinical mental health specialist, Donita Lake, joining us on the Rewind Sports 60.
Thank you.
And Donita is fantastic. Recent graduate, get her master's from Northwestern University.
Go Wildcats.
Go Wildcats,
Yes.
and they need a little bit of talking to after this past weekend. Duke handed them some business, and I was kind of surprised with that. But Coach Pat Fitzgerald will probably get those guys whipped into shape and get them ready to go. But, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you and chat with you, because we break away from the X's and O's as far as sports is concerned, and we get an opportunity to talk about some important issues and some serious issues about things that are taking place in the world of sports, whether it's the professional level or even down to the high school level in some cases, from depression to CTE, and the most recent that's coming out. We've known a few players over the years have tried to commit suicide based on the play, especially in the National Football League, with the aches and pains that they endure post pro football.
Absolutely.
And it's happened to Dave Dorison, number 22, back in the day with the Chicago Bears. Eric Kramer was just in the news a few weeks ago, domestic abuse regarding his wife, but we know that he actually tried to take his life a few years ago as well. This upcoming week is Suicide Prevention Week, starting on Monday, September 10th. And Jason Zinner, our technical director, just shared some information regarding, I believe, a family friend that unfortunately took his life just a week ago. So it's and we know the celebrities who have claimed their lives over the past, just this year, over the past few months.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about suicide and the signs, and if you know someone who you suspect may be having a difficult time or struggling time, what one can do. And if you have thoughts of your own as far as that individual to say, hey, enough is enough, what kind of signs can people look for, and what kind of treatments are out there to help them?
Well, I'd like to start with the CDC's recent report. And what we're seeing across the board throughout states is that the suicide rate is up tremendously, especially in Illinois. The suicide rate rose to 23%, and that's almost close to the national average of 25.3% of successful suicides.
Wow.
From the year 1999 to 2016. So it's reported that 45,000 people in 2016 took their lives.
That's crazy, and it's interesting because the number I heard was 21%. Now you're saying it's climbed to 23, and the national level is 25%.
That's right. And what we see is that only half of those that took their life report mental health issues. So there are other life-altering events that take place, such as workplace stressors, physical health concerns. We're looking at relational issues, and financial stressors. And believe it or not, the age range is between 45 and 64. And we see commonly among men the suicide rate is normally higher, but we're seeing reports of female suicides taking place. So when you ask about the signs and the symptoms, what we really want to look for in our loved ones or in ourselves or people that we know is that we'll see signs of depression. We'll see signs of anger, isolation, agitation, okay? And those are all signs that, you want to look for, and you just want to open the dialogue and really have that direct conversation. If you're noticing a change in sleep patterns or behavioral changes, you really want to sit down with your loved ones and just have that direct conversation with them. I've noticed this over this period of time. And if they express feelings of hopelessness and feelings of dread, then you want to ask that direct question. When you're feeling this way, do you have thoughts of taking your life? And if that's the case, there are resources out there. One starting with the National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
Right.
Okay, and you can very easily just pick up the phone and dial 1-800-273-TALK and get someone, an expert on that other side of the phone that can help maybe just discuss, talk out some of the issues that may be causing a person to want to take their life.
And you know what? You bring up a great point, Donita Lake, clinical mental health specialist here on the Rewind Sports 60. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to just talking and listening.
Yes.
Because I believe a lot of people that experience, depression and mental illness, they're just like we all are as human beings. I think we seek attention,
Yes.
and we seek someone to
right.
to pay attention to us. And I
Sure.
think that's the situation where a lot of these folks, they feel maybe that they don't have anyone that will listen to them.
That's right.
Or even just sit down and talk to them.
Absolutely. And what we know from a mental health perspective is when we're speaking with people and we get their history and we understand the biopsychosocial domains of their life, and we can see that maybe there may be some prevalence that this person is at risk for suicide ideation or taking their life. What we want to do is we want to have that open dialogue, and we want to share the narrative, but we want to see if there's a plan. Okay, if they have a means, if they have really decided this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it, and if that is the case, we do have to intervene at that point as mandate reporters and step in and get people immediate help, whether they go into day treatment, residential treatment. Family support is key in this case.
Yeah.
Because as you said, that's
Right.
starting a dialogue, and to sit back in isolation and allow your loved one to be in that place of pain and not reach out to them, you know, they're leading down that road of dread and destruction. So it's important that you step in and intervene if you're noticing some of those signs.
Donita, I mean, how much into does it factor people with serious or even terminal illnesses? I remember back in the days, God forbid, of Kevorkian. I mean, there was
Assisted suicide.
There was
Sure.
an avenue for that.
Right, right. Well, what we're seeing in end-of-life care, and as we talk about that in terms of being in hospice and assisted suicide, there are certain laws, and depending on the state where you live, if that is even allowed. But we do have those instances where people will seek out medical care. And so what we see is that it's palliative care. So it's not a matter of prolonging your life. It's a matter of making your death that less detrimental or painful.
Painful.
You know,
In the hospice or
in
whatever,
the
yeah.
hospice care.
Right.
So just making people very comfortable at that level. So we're looking at something totally different than someone actually just deciding, you know, that we're just going to end it. That's it. You know, and I've called many people lately off of ledges. So it's the suicide rate is on the rise, and when you look at physical health concerns, that's one of the major causes. And as a matter of fact, it's the second leading cause of death in the United States.
The first is what?
Well, we're looking at
As far as suicide.
as far as suicide.
What do you think the number one reason for suicide?
I'm going to say it's only half of people for mental depression, stress related to workplace stressors.
I think financial.
It's financial workplace stressors, definitely.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks, you know, and you said between 45 and 60. The numbers,
between that age range.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you look at 45,000 people in 2016, the current numbers are still out there, but in 2016, 45,000 people. That's a lot.
Yeah, and
of people.
I think a lot. I think a lot of people in that age range, you know, Danny, both Danny's, Donita, is that, you know, it's a transitional period in their life, and I know that there are friends of mine who are struggling with retirement age.
Sure.
The other being the fact that the younger generations coming up, they're more skilled.
Yeah.
They may take a little bit less pay, which is pushing the older generation out, and a lot of these 45 to 60 something don't know what to do with their lives because they've been doing it for so many years the same way, and now technology has pushed them out the door. The young generation has pushed them out the door, and hence comes the depression. Hence comes the bills.
This feeling of isolation, being withdrawn from society, not having that sense of normalcy that they once had, and being inclusive and purpose. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. So we see that on the rise, and the reason why it's more prevalent among that age group is because of the things that you mentioned.
Sure.
And we're at that stage in our life where either we're at a stage that we've accomplished things in our life and we can settle in and be content with where we are, or we're just on that slippery slope.
Right.
Where we haven't.
Yeah.
And so it's and with the workplace being as it is, and with the job market being as it is, you got to look at ageism and how people age out of certain careers.
Yeah.
And they're just left there without knowing what to do with their lives, and the best option for a lot of people is suicide.
We talked earlier about warning signs and stuff like that. It's not always the person that's like, oh, woe is me, kind of dragging. Sometimes maybe there's maybe predisposed to be that way, but it's kind of dormant. But then a life event happens, triggers losing a loved one, an illness,
Absolutely.
or the loss of
To me,
job.
it's like a hidden thing, like some of these shooters. I mean, you never expect it.
You always hear, oh, he's the nicest guy on the block. We never suspected
Quiet.
that he would have done something like that. And you're right. There are certain immediate life events that take place that can trigger that can have a psychological impact on a person. And it leaves them in that state of doom where they feel like they have no other option. So we have to look at those signs and really be vigilant within our family dynamic or within the workplace to be able to identify if people are experiencing certain issues that may lead to them considering taking their life.
Sure thing. Donita Lake joining us, clinical mental health specialist on the Rewind Sports 60. Before we let you go, again, if people suspect that a loved one or a close friend or neighbor may be experiencing something like this or showing some signs, again, with Suicide Prevention Week starting up on Monday, September 10th, what's your advice for them to reach out, and how should they get in contact with whoever they can to have someone listen?
Certainly. You have your local organizations through the suicide prevention hotlines. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Again, that number is 1-800-273-TALK. It's just as simple as that. Reach out to your local hospitals, your community organizations, your local mental health professionals that are in the area, as well as your churches and other community organizations. Reach out to your family members that you know that may be able to have an impact on that person and making that decision. So it's just about being vigilant, being supportive, and being cognitive of what's going on in that person's life, and just opening the dialogue and having that real hardcore conversation.
1-800-273-TALK.
That's right.
Donita,
Yes.
thank you so very much for joining us on the Rewind Sports 60. You are invaluable, and you bring a wealth of information every single time that you're on. Thank you. God bless, and keep doing what you do, lady.
Thank you.
When
Thank
we
you
come
for
back,
having me.
hey, you know what? The mimosas are flowing here at the Rewind Sports 60, and of course, Ciaranello's restaurant there at Italiano. But you know what? Week 1 of the National Football League. We just had week 3 of high school football, week 2 of college football,
That's right.
week 1 of NFL football,
Wow.
and you know what that means. Danny, that means tailgating.
Wow.
That means early morning sipping on the sauce. That means Bloody Marys.
That kind of tailgating. I thought you were talking about.
Hey, take it easy, take it easy. Not the one that just walked up, hey, put on chain. When we come back.
I wasn't talking about that one either, but that's okay.
When we come back, Bloody Marys in the house right here at Ciaranello's restaurant there at Tagliano. Tequila style. Don't touch the smartphone. Don't touch that Samsung. Don't touch the iPad. Don't touch any of those devices. Keep it locked in. This is the Rewind Sports 60 broadcasting from the world's famous Ciaranello's restaurant there at Tagliano here in Wheeling. Lock it in.
You're watching the Rewind Sports 60. Go Illini!
It's the end of the quarter. Time for a break in the action. The hottest sports panel in Chicago will get back to the fast-paced action, streaming live on Facebook Live. We're back at it after this quick timeout. So don't you dare touch that iPhone, Android, iPad, Mac, or PC. Lock it in. Facebook Live. Now let's get you back to the hottest sports panel in Chicago.
Hello, Chicago!
Lock it in.
Welcome back to Rewind Sports 60. Marty-B, the man on the street. Come on over here, man. Don't be a... Come on now.
All right.
Welcome back to the Rewind Sports 60. Yours
morning,
truly,
ladies and
Jerry
gentlemen.
Riles. Marty-B, the man on the street. Danny Carlino, the Italian stallion. And we'll get to this beautiful rose amongst these thorns in a second here. But Marty, how are you?
Terrific, Jerry.
I didn't mean to
Oh, no, that's okay.
but it's real sports, real talk, just plain real. Of course, I mean what I do and I do what I mean. Boom, change. Hey, Marty, can you assist us here? We're pleased to be joined by
I'd be
Sheetal
delighted.
Bhagat. Sheetal Bhagat, a Spice Note Tequila. Spice Note Tequila.
No tequila.
And this is a part of, this is the
Cumin.
Yeah. Marty, our lovely bartender, here she comes. You can assist with the Bloody Marys here? Here,
We're gonna make a real one.
There.
A good, yep,
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah. Sheetal is going to tell us about her product, and we're going to sample some Bloody Marys for tailgating reasons and tailgating purposes, because obviously it's week 1 of the National Football League, and we just talked to a few of our reporters who are heading up to Lambeau Field for the Green Bay Packers Chicago Bear football game. But all across this beautiful land of ours, this beautiful country of ours, that there are many people who have been out waiting for week 1 tailgating. 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning across the Grand US of A. And of course, they got the libations flowing, whether it's my favorite, Danny Carlino, the PBR, and the
I didn't see you with one in a while.
no, or the mimosa, but of course, the Bloody Mary. And Sheetal is going to share with us her product, and we're going to sample some Bloody Marys, my good friend. Are you in for it?
I'll make myself in for it.
There you go. Marty B.
I must confess, I'm a confirmed iced tea drinker.
Iced tea, okay.
Which is interesting, talking sports and talking cocktails. I was up at the at Winnebago County Stadium, but Miller Park, when the Cubs and Brewers were taking place, and I didn't know this. Of course, they have the beer and everything. They actually serve iced teas, the Long Island iced teas up there.
Oh, okay. Well, that has a little alcohol in it. I know. I'm pretty.
I was
straight
surprised.
laced.
I
Yeah.
was really surprised.
That's more than a little if they make it right.
Oh my! Here's the Bloody Maria.
Bloody
My
Maria.
gosh, I will say it looks delicious.
Okay, thank you. So, Sheetal, thank you so very much for joining us on the Rewind Sports 60. We
Thank
appreciate you
you.
taking some time out. First and foremost, you are a beautiful rose amongst us thorns here.
Thank you.
You are fantastic. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so very much. Now, the story behind Spice Note Tequila, the way that I learned about it, there were some samples going on in the local Benny's here in Buffalo Grove. And of course, yours truly, I always have to sample the product to make sure that they pass the taste test. And a young lady asked me, hey, do you like tequila? And I say, tequila? Right? And
We
she
don't
said,
like that answer.
No, you don't. You don't. Right. And she goes, you'll like this. I go, oh, really? I said, because I can only have maybe 1 or 2 at the most. She said, come on over, you'll like this. She gave me the sample. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What did you like about it?
That's a very good question. I'm supposed to ask you the question,
Oh.
but thank you so very much. What I
Okay.
liked about it was
Yeah.
the flavor.
Ah.
What I liked about it was the taste. And more importantly, or as important, I liked the fact that there was not, usually when I have tequila,
Yeah.
1 or 2 and then I'm done.
Yeah.
This was very smooth, and you can taste it, but it was smooth enough and didn't leave that kick and punch that knock you upside the, and you're down there on the floor after about 2 or 3.
Right.
And that's what I really appreciated about it. Tell us a little bit about you and how this came about.
Okay, well, my background, my formal degree is in music. I went to the University of Michigan.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, interview's over.
Sheetal, did you?
All right.
It's okay.
Anyway.
I mean, by the end, you'll be able to kiss the ring.
No,
okay?
no, never. And my degree's in music, but my passion is in food and spice. Of course, spice being a huge part of my heritage. And my love is tequila, margaritas, actually. I was on the hunt for the best margarita recipe that I could find. This was many years ago. So I've been perfecting my margarita recipe for years, and finally got to a point where I had the best tequila, I had the best, simple syrup, I had fresh lime juice, I had all the great flavors, and it was great for a while, and then I got bored with it, and I said, what could I do now? And how could I make this even better? And given my spice background, I thought, well, I should add spice to my margarita, and that's really where it started.
Really?
Lime and cumin have been a kitchen pairing in my family kitchen for years, and made sense to me. And margaritas being made out of lime made sense to add cumin to it.
Yeah.
That's how my brain works. And so I added powdered cumin to the cocktail shaker when I was making my margarita. The taste was fantastic. The mouthfeel was gritty and powdery, and then began the process of, okay, how do we get this great cumin flavor in our margarita without all that powdery grit?
Right.
Formulation.
So my question to you is, how did you know it was great? How did you know the taste was fantastic? Because many a times, your mind is certainly different than my mind, but I've come up with some concoctions and some things, and I go, man, that tastes great. And I go, hey, Danny, try it out.
He's and he said no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how did you know that this was a taste that you can actually run with?
Okay, so I liked it.
Sure.
My family and friends liked it, but I started making this for big parties, for events I used to cater. So I would take little samples. I served it at my own wedding, 300 guests, and it was getting consistently positive feedback. So I thought, I think I have something here.
Okay.
It didn't stop at cumin. I have 7 more infusions, cinnamon being one of them. And I have a couple more coming out next year, which will be a surprise. You have to follow our social media pages to know what those are going to be.
Okay.
But the concept of the line is spice infused tequila, not añejo reposado, blanco tequila. It's spice infused blanco tequila.
And how long have you been at it again?
This idea came to me in 2010. It took a while, And
sure.
Life happens, all the craziness of life happens. But 2014 is when I established the company formally as an LLC in the state of Illinois, et cetera, and it took another 3.5 years from that point to get to market, to actually see it on the shelf. Sure
thing. And as far as especially with a lot of startups and especially in the alcohol liquor industry, as far as suggestions for people who have an interest in venturing out, because a lot of microbreweries are popping up all over the place. As far as finances are concerned, because I can imagine it was a little up and down roller coaster for you. How were you able to maintain your steadiness and continue to move toward your dream?
Well, oh my gosh, that is a loaded question. Initially, until 2015, it was, I called it my tequila project. I established the project in a very sort of dark time in my life. I was struggling to have a baby, actually. And I kind of hit rock bottom and needed my project to keep me going and keep me focused on something other than the obvious pink elephant in the room, which was, why can't we have a baby, And then in 2015, by the time I was ready to start pitching for money, the development was solid. I had a business plan. I had my financial projections. I had all of that stuff done, and then began the really hard part of pitching for money. It just takes a lot of consistency, persistency, belief, faith, and you just keep at it until I kept at it until I had my little pot to just launch in Chicago. Now we're in the process of fundraising. I think my job from now on will be always fundraising.
Sure, of course.
Because we're trying to get to the next part of our launch, which is a new market and 2 new infusions. So I'm in the middle of fundraising even now. But the interesting and the best part of the story is that I secured all my funding, and 2 weeks later I had a positive pregnancy test.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was pretty neat.
So when it rains, it pours.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the one thing I know that you're a woman of faith, because you said 2 things that are very important and very vital, and I'm sure you didn't learn it from that school up north, and it was to be consistent and persistent.
Oh no, I did. Believe me. Michigan is no walk in the park. I'll tell you, it's tough.
That name is kind of like forbidden on the
What?
show.
Michigan?
Here.
I'm sorry. Wolverines?
And I know where you got that.
Sheetal.
I'll never be invited back, by the way.
Roman, can you get a good look so she can make sure she gets a good look?
Back to the important things, other than the team that lost the game and the other one that has a coach that's suspended. To give hope to the budding entrepreneurs out there.
Yes.
How many times were you told no?
Careful, you have what you're sleeping.
Before you.
How many times am I currently told no? Is the question.
Yeah.
All the time. All the time. I was told before I entered into this business that this is a very tough business. Turn around. Don't do it. And especially being a startup, it's a fire every single week. Every single week there is something. In January, we really are. My infrastructure fell apart. That I'd worked so hard for 3 years to establish. You know, our distributor folded, and I had to find a new distributor. I mean, sometimes the fires are massive, and sometimes they're like little fires, but it's constant.
Yeah, it's interesting because with this, as you know, the Rewind Sports 60 is a startup. We've been together for 3 years, and it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it's been up and down. But I use consistency and persistence. You have to continue to do that and to reach your goal. And we've had, Danny and Jason Zinner has been with me from the start, and we can certainly tell you that we've had some people come through the door and leave through the door. Because what happens is, for us, is people, they think that it's going to be instant. Right. And I used to joke with one of our colleagues that, it's like you're juggling. You're always juggling something.
Right.
It's always, and you got to keep moving. What is it that you, and one thing that we say on the phrase we use is lock it in. What do you lock into? Knowing that to keep going, knowing that the fires are coming, and it's a roller coaster, and it's never ending. What do you use to lock in to keep going?
Okay, two things. The first thing I remind myself whenever I wake up to a really hard day is that I get to do this every single day. This is a privilege. There are people in other parts of the country, other parts of the world that struggle for the basics. This is an honor to do something like this. So that's a good reminder that, I have a couple problems this morning that I got to deal with, but they're not serious problems. I'm feeding my family, my son is healthy, I'm healthy, my husband's healthy. Like, those are the real important things.
Right.
So I remind myself of that when I know it's going to be a storm that day. And then the other thing is that even though sometimes days are really hard and you got to work through the problems, there's a learning process and a learning that comes out of it at the end of it all, and that is what drives me. I love learning, and I love problem solving, and I love learning. So that to me is like the most exciting thing.
Sure. And the thing with us and what we do here is because we've run into some challenges, and I know a lot of people in the industry, a lot of professionals, and I know they look at what we're doing, and they look at us with a different eye, because they say, okay, Jerry has been there, and we know him, and we know what he can do, and if it's subpar, it's worse than just some other guy saying, I'm going to start this thing up, because your peers now are judging you. Just like you said, you sampled it at your wedding and all other places. People are judging you on what you do. And even though you may say, hey, it's not a big deal, it is a big deal. Because you want to put the best product out there, and you want to be able to show your peers, hey, you know what? What I'm doing, what I'm sacrificing, and the investment that I'm making is worthwhile. And I have to say to you, I commend you. With the idea, first of all, you said 2004?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
2014 is the LLC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I commend you for having the vision and the commitment and the
craziness?
That's it.
That's part of it.
That's it. Speaking of this, and we're on with Sheetal. Sheetal. I keep saying Sheetal. Sheetal.
I had to work on that too.
Spice Note Tequila. Did you happen to see the recent Nike commercial with Colin Kaepernick?
I haven't seen it yet.
And he said, take a look at it. It's actually pretty good. But he mentioned something in there about people may think you're crazy until you do it. And that's, I don't know if you experienced that, but, I've experienced that, of course. You say, what are you doing? This is crazy. What are we doing? But there's a process behind it.
There is, yes.
And until they thought Henry Ford was crazy, right?
Right.
And, of course, people are driving Fords around. So
Right.
it's a matter of a belief system, and it's a matter of you having the faith in yourself to move forward. And I have to tell you, this is a Bloody Maria. Why Bloody Maria and not Bloody Mary?
Well, it's made with tequila.
Hey, tequila.
And
What's up, Danny?
It's made with the cumin-infused tequila. So cumin and tomatoes are a really great kitchen pairing. So it makes a great Bloody Maria.
Bloody Maria, it's pretty good.
I like that.
It is.
Bloody
It is
Maria.
very, very good. So again, and we
you.
appreciate you taking time out to come on down here. How did you like the brunch? Did you have brunch yet?
I haven't eaten yet.
Grab something.
Yes, I'm going to.
You got it, Derek McIntyre over there at the Omelet Meat Carving Station.
Yes.
It's the best in the business. Maybe you can try some of his fun-loving waffles.
Oh yeah.
But if
I've been
people
smelling
wanna-
this.
If people want to try out Spice Note Tequila, where can they find it and how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can actually find it in Wheeling in a few places. The Liquor Barn has it.
Really?
Yes.
one of our
That's one of our sponsors.
And the Liquor Barn
Yeah.
actually can ship it to 35 states. So you can send it to your loved ones. The Wheeling and Binny's also has it. So there's a couple of big stores here.
Good for you.
that
Yes,
have
I'm
it.
so glad you
for
mentioned
you.
those.
Yeah.
How much, if you don't mind, how much a bottle is going for?
I believe it retails at $29.99.
Really?
Yes.
pretty reasonable.
Yes. Sometimes it differs account to account, but I believe those two accounts are $29.99.
So if we say, hey, Sheetal Bhagat was on the program, you think we'll get a discount over there at the Liquor Barn?
I think you should get a free bottle. You didn't hear. See, this is bad business.
Tom,
See, this is
Marcel,
why
you
I'm
heard her.
going to go out of business.
Tom, Marcel,
I'm in.
you heard her. The Rewind Sports.
Just the
That's
reverse.
right.
I think
Yeah,
that
Marcel, please don't hate me.
Marcel.
No. Yeah.
I think it's going to work in the reverse. That comment you just made, Sheetal, it's going to escalate sales. They're going to go through the roof.
Exactly.
Yeah, while I plummet and
You
go bankrupt.
gotta get the taste on their lips for them to say,
That's true.
I want to pay that $29.
Now, the
for it.
one thing you need to do, because you're a beautiful young lady, you absolutely
you.
know that, right?
Well, no.
Of
but
course.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Listen, I'm
I've
sure.
been told.
I'm sure when you're walking down the magnificent mile at Michigan Avenue in Chicago, just window shopping, you hear all these screeching marks on the, and it crashes, boom, boom. It's because the people they go what?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Maybe some of them is because they maybe had a little bit of that before they got in the car. too.
Yeah. Oh, don't ever. Yeah,
Hey,
that's
now,
bad.
take it
That's
easy.
very bad.
Don't
yeah.
tell my secrets. Come on now.
Oh, jeez.
But did you ever think about putting your picture on?
Oh my gosh, no. We want to sell bottles. We want to sell bottles.
Very much.
I will tell you that the Wheeling Binny's is having a tasting, I believe on the 22nd of September.
Oh, really?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah. We
Okay.
do.
That's
yep.
a Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Yeah.
Saturday the 22nd, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So they can check it out there, or they want to try a sample, then they can pick up a bottle.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sheetal Bhagat, thank you so very much
Thank
for
you
joining
very
us on the
much,
Rewind
Jerry.
Sports 60. This Bloody Maria is to die for. Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much. It's
Thanks
fantastic.
so
We really,
much.
really appreciate it. It's a pleasure finally get a chance to see you as opposed to just talking with you on the phone. But anytime we reach out to you and communicate to you, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Very
God bless you.
much.
Good luck. And if there's anything we can do on the Rewind Sports 60, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Danny, the whole gang.
Thanks
okay?
so much.
Hey, when we come back, it's the man on the street, Marty-B. He's got a lot in store, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you spice infused?
Spiced infused.
I'm spice confused, so it's a different story.
Keep it locked in, broadcasting from the world's famous Serena's Restaurante Italiano, right here in the heart of Wheeling. Lock it in, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Welcome back to Rewind Sports 60. Jerry Riles, Danny Carlino, the Italian Stallion, Marvelous Dan Marver, and of course the man on the street, Marty-B. Hey, let me tell you something. Programming note. This Spice Note Tequila, if you're in the Wheeling area, go down to the Liquor Barn, go on over to Benny's. We prefer you to go to the Liquor Barn. Say hello to Marcel, say hello to Tom, all those guys over there. Say hello to them, Sam. Tell them the Rewind Sports 60 sent you over there. I'm going over there to get a... Sheetal said to go over there and get a free bottle of Spice Note Tequila. So Marcel, lock it in. But this stuff is good for tailgating. It's awesome. You're drinking the hot cocoa?
This would be good for later in the season.
It looks very, really, it does. It does look good. It's not too strong, is it, Jerry?
No.
Okay.
It's a Bloody Maria now. Bloody Maria. They kicked Mary out of the, Mary, get out of here. No, but this is great for tailgating for sure.
Oh, this will be good for the Packers game at home.
Oh, yeah, exactly. December. Yeah.
And we do know it is tailgating season.
It is certainly in this football season, Marty, and the man on the street, Marty-B.
Oh my gosh!
Well, you got a lot in store. Let's get to you.
There's way too much. I need a whole 2 hours.
Pages and pages there. Look at that.
But before I begin anything here, I'd like to start out with a wonderful evening that I enjoyed last Tuesday night, ladies and gentlemen. It was a commemorative evening, and his voice, I'm sure you all remember, Paul Harvey. Yes, a very dear friend. Yes. Oh, yes. Good day. That's right, Jerry. A very dear friend of mine invited me to the 100th birthday party of Paul Harvey, and it was held in the International Club at the Drake Hotel. Now, the International Club has been closed for about 3 years, but this was Paul Harvey's favorite spot.
Is that right? When
so
was
they
this?
Opened it up. This was to commemorate what would have been his 100th birthday.
When was this?
This was this past Tuesday evening.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just marvelous. And Jerry, you being just, as far as, ever since I've known you, even before I knew you, when I would watch you on television, I was always very impressed with your sense of timing. And you being just such a seasoned professional in broadcasting, whether it be television or radio, you know the importance of timing. And his timing, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to reflect, was impeccable.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely impeccable. And I think we'll close this little segment with, I think we'll all remember, and now you know the rest of the story.
Good.
It was a marvelous evening, and I was just so thrilled to have been included.
You know what? I look forward, and thank you for the kind words, Marty.
Surely,
thank you so
well,
very much.
They're very well deserved, sir.
I appreciate it. And, part of my learning and growing and experience was listening and watching to some of those seasoned veterans that I grew up listening and watching. And Paul Harvey was definitely one of those individuals. I can remember driving and listening in the car, and you hear his reports, and that's exactly how he was able to close out. But he had such a professional demeanor about himself and his approach, and his journalistic skills were impeccable, from his writing to his delivery. And those are the certain things that you pick up. You try to learn from the best and those who have been ahead of you. And Paul Harvey was definitely one of those individuals that you could take a piece of what he presented to you and apply it to your skill set, and hope that you can have some longevity in the business. So I'm glad you had an opportunity to be a part of that and experience that, and to share in that, because he's, as you said, a well-deserved individual as far as his journalistic and abilities and his skills as a human being.
Jerry, I couldn't have said it myself, or any of the speakers that evening couldn't have stated that more succinctly than you just did right now.
He's the best. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Just brought tremendous memories, and I was so glad to have been included. Last evening, and of course the evening started out, I had a chance to see our friend Jason at White Sox Park. Danny, I have to ask, did you go to the Friday night game?
Yes.
For the fireworks? Oh, good.
Yeah.
You were there Friday, and the man on the street was there last night.
I got a bird's eye view of that Ohtani 3-run homer.
Oh.
I was in the concourse, and then I knew he was coming out the bat. Like, I pushed my way to the front by the fan deck, and so if you see a guy in a red hat as the ball's flying, that's me. I didn't get to see Angle smash into the wall and lose his glove, though. I had to ask people later on, like, you look kind of mad. What was wrong?
I'm glad he didn't seriously hurt
himself. But when I heard, and as soon as I saw that ball, I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. It's coming right for me.
Wow, and of course I enjoyed watching him last night, and that triple that he hit, and
don't forget, he's in line for Tommy John surgery, so you can't pitch with that, but you can hit 3-run home runs and bang the ball all over the ballpark with it, though. Obviously.
Yeah, he mentioned next year it won't affect his swing at all. He plans on being, even if he does have the operation, he plans on being a DH full time.
Right.
And now they really, they got to be careful how they pitch to Mike Trout. They can't pitch around him. Yeah. But last evening, our dear friends Joe Simmons, of the White Sox, was kind enough to invite me as our guest last night. And it was a remarkable evening for me because I had a chance to sit in the second seat of the first row behind the White Sox dugout.
Nice.
And I got a bird's eye view of everything. And with the opportunity, all due respect to all the wonderful players that are on the field, I had an opportunity to really focus in on the premier player of all of baseball, Mike Trout. He really is something.
I think he just got another base hit.
Yeah, he went 5 for 5. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
2 homers and 3 singles.
Base it today already?
And an arm that you better not take that extra base on. Saw that firsthand.
Yeah.
I'd like to read a little something about Mike Trout. This is interesting. The Angels publicly praised outfielder Mike Trout for prioritizing his personal values over commercial self-promotion. This came a day after the Major League Commissioner, Rob Manfred, said Trout will be an even bigger star if he would spend more time marketing himself. Well, the Angels politely disagree with this. The team released a statement extolling Trout for the time he spends visiting hospitals, schools, and charities, and the quality of time, most importantly, and you family men can certainly appreciate this, the time he spends with his family. The Angels said, "We applaud him for prioritizing his personal values over commercial self-promotion.
Wow.
That is rare in today's society and stands out as much, probably even far more, than his extraordinary baseball talent." Mike Trout.
That's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting stance. I'm kind of mixed. I respect that. I certainly do. And you want to give your brand to the charitable, organizations and foundations that are in need of it. But I also think that the more you share who you are, the more platforms you use to share who you are, the more people you'll be able to touch, and more people you'll be able to get involved with to help them. So and I understand from Manfred's perspective, it's kind of a, hey, we want to market the sport, we want to market the game. But as far as the individual is concerned, if I can get in front of more people and let them know who I am, if it's in a 15-second, 30-second, or 60-second commercial or spot, maybe more people will reach out to me so that I can give more of service to those particular individuals and particular foundations. So I'm kind of, I understand, I respect both sides for sure. And it could be a win-win situation. It could.
It's a great stance. I mean, he could have been a spokesman for Nike instead. Right? I mean,
Next year.
And you know what? I mean, seriously, Colin Kaepernick, who is the face of it, Just Do It. They're celebrating their what anniversary is it? Their
the 30th of that, I think.
30th anniversary
of that campaign. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you gentlemen had an opportunity to see it. We've been running it throughout the course of the show, but Colin Kaepernick was lending language to those people out there to say, hey, if people think you're crazy, let them. If they think you want to be the fastest, go. So he's in that message that he and Nike have put together. They're trying to share and encourage people to step out of their shell and to go for your dreams. Many people don't do that because they're the fear of being bullied nowadays or being laughed at or talked about. This is an opportunity for people to step out of themselves and say, hey, I'm going to try it because this guy tried it. And you may have to sacrifice a lot, but with sacrifice comes reward.
Yes.
We're going to have to wrap things up. What else do we have real quick before we say goodbye?
Okay. A couple minutes yet, Jerry?
Sure thing. Jason? Couple? Sounds good?
Okay. Jerry, I think we have our number one, our first serious candidate for our Athlete of the Year.
Oh!
And I'm going to have to go out and see this young lady play volleyball. Well, as you know, I religiously watch the Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
Matter of fact, this weekend I didn't see it Friday night because I commiserated with my friends from Glenbrook North after that very tough defeat at the hands of Hoffman Estates. But when I came back and the next morning I got up bright and early and I was cheered up right away because one of the first segments that they did was a segment on the outstanding young volleyball player from Marion Catholic. What an outstanding young lady. Her name is Temi Thomas Olira. She's an outside hitter. She is an outstanding student, 4-point GPA.
Nice.
Straight A student. She's a singer.
Really?
She is a singer. And according to her coach, Coach Summers, just a sweetheart of a young lady.
That's
He
awesome.
just loves her. Says she is just awesome. Apparently their school won state when she was a sophomore. But now she's a team captain, and she's prevailed upon to do a lot more than just play.
The TRS60
Yeah,
High School
she's-
Athlete of the Week.
And she's all set to go to Northwestern on a full scholarship.
Nice.
Yeah, so she'll definitely be someone we'd like to have on the show.
You got that right, Mark.
So we'll have to go out and check her out and say, watch her play volleyball.
Let's certainly do it.
Yes, absolutely. So that was a very, very pleasant surprise with the Friday Night Lights. And she'll definitely be one of our candidates. Did you get an opportunity to talk a little about some of the high school games last Friday night?
No, we didn't, and
Probably don't have time for it now.
We'll certainly get
Saturday,
into it, but
they only got beat.
yeah, we'll certainly get into that. High school football action is in the air, especially around these parts, ladies and gentlemen. Also, we didn't get a chance to talk much about Serena Williams and what unfolded there as far as that unfortunate, disappointing situation. You thief! You thief! $3.8 million. I say that.
Here's one thing, though, rightly or wrongly, when you impugn the character of the officials, you're probably going to get in a little trouble.
Just a little bit. But,
Even if you're right.
But with her reputation, it's like, hey, give me the benefit of the doubt. I'm Serena Williams. Come on now. What do you want?
But the winner earned more money in that event than she had in her whole career prior to that, so give her props.
20-year-old.
Osaka, yeah.
Congrats, Naomi Osaka.
You beat Serena in straight sets, you deserve some credit.
Boom. Hey, folks, thank you so very much. And again, the 9/11.
Excuse me. Oh, yes. I know that this Tuesday commemorates a very, very special day in our history, and take some time out to reflect and pray for those we've lost and pray for the future safety of our nation.
And pray that none of that ever happens again on our
They're
soil.
putting a new museum up in Shanksville. Did you see that this morning?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
They're going to actually have a museum in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
In addition to the memorial they have now.
Yeah.
Nice.
One thing I want to mention real quickly, at the end of the Friday Night Lights, they highlighted the memorial that they did for the young man who was a star athlete at Carthage College, was going to, well, actually, he was just beginning his career
Exactly.
at Carthage. Great athlete at Palatine, High School. Number 7 at at the first Friday night ball game. Everybody wore number 7. They raised money by selling T-shirts for the Family Crisis Foundation, and it was a beautiful tribute to a very, very fine young man.
Exactly. Hey, Marty-B, you're the man on the street. Thank you so very much. Danny, marvelous. Marver, you're the best. The Italian Stallion, Danny Carlino, thank you so very much as usual. You're the man. And of course, Mark Grody, WSCR, the Score Sports Radio 670. John Moon Mullen, NBC Sports Chicago, along with JJ Stankovich, NBC Sports Chicago, covering the Chicago Bears. Donita Lake, she's the best in the business. TRS60, clinical mental health specialist. And Sheetal Bhagat, Spice Note Tequila, the founder, the owner. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the week, and we'll see you week 2 of National Football League. Hang in there. We'll see you on Comcast Access Tuesday and Wednesday. Lock it in. This has been another portion of the Rewind Sports 60. Have a great day. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.